Future of my future. I ain't jaded, I just hate it. See, I've been down too long. Kind of hard to explain. Burned and buried all I carried. All my evils through a needle. As it pulled through the eye, what was and what will are all gone. Threaded to forget it, to feel like you're already gone. To the rest of the life that you've got. Take a picture, bury it all in the rain. Bury it all in the rain. Try to fake it, I just can't take it. I don't care if it hurts, just so long as it's real. I won't waste it, turn to face it. I'd sharpen the knife, then used it to bone, made it dull. Tried explaining, done explaining. Got caught in the plan, all this talking at once. I've been giving my love away to the things that tear it apart. I'm gonna suture up my future. Thread it to forget it, to feel like you're already gone. To the rest of the life that you've got. Tie the loose ends, bury it all in the rain. It's like this, it's like this. Tried explaining, done explaining. Got caught in the plan, all this talking at once. I've been giving my love away to the things that tear it apart. I'm gonna suture up my future. Thread it to forget it, to feel like you're already gone. To the rest of the life that you've got. Tear loose ends, bury it all in the rain. It's like this, it's like this. Welcome to another bloody, horrid, terrible episode of the apocalypse. And congratulations for choosing the apocalypse, a bold, idiotic choice, but a choice nonetheless. And since you have unwisely chosen the apocalypse, you are in urgent need of a guide. Unfortunately for me, I happen to be that guide, your humble guide, Nicholas. So, bloody good to see you again. In these last days, in these times of the Reich. I don't know if you've noticed, yesterday you lost a little bit of your country. Today, you lost even more. And tomorrow, you will lose even more. Thank a rube near you. Thank a greedy CEO near you. That's why we're where we're at. Anyway, let's start this piece of shit. Trump asks aides if they think Musk's behavior could be related to alleged drug use. Drug use? Leon? Never. Never. The Nazi salute guy using drugs? That's poppycock. Poppycock. Two quick excerpts. In his own telling, Trump is not wasting any time thinking about the man who 1 week ago was receiving a giant golden key in the Oval Office and has since lobbed insults towards its occupant. That's a strange way to word it, but whatever. Everybody's scared. The president told Dana Bash in a brief phone call Friday morning he was not even thinking about Elon and wouldn't be speaking to Musk for a while. Yeah, that's total bullshit. They're literally having meetings on how do we ruin this guy because of what he said. He did the taboo thing. He tied Donnie to Epstein in front of the whole world. As co-chancellor, he said that. So believe me, Donnie's thinking about Leon and he's thinking about how to bury that motherfucker. Believe me. Donnie doesn't take slights, jokes, insults, tying him to Epstein too kindly. He doesn't forget things like that. Even though he's a syphilitic, dementia-ridden mess, he never forgets a grudge, baby. So I'm not buying that he's not thinking about Elon, but I get what he's trying to say. Leon's yesterday's news, he's dead to me. What are you talking? I'm not even thinking about him. I've got completely new evils and grifts to focus on. No, he's thinking a lot about Leon and how to ruin him. Yes, definitely. Talking to reporters on Air Force One Friday night, Trump said he would take a look at canceling some of Musk's government contracts, a possibility he had floated on Truth Social in the height of their feud, and asserted the country would be fine without them. The U.S. can survive without almost anybody, this is a quote, except me, he said, adding that he was joking on the latter point. He wasn't joking. Donnie thinks he's God. He wanted to be Pope. He posted himself as Pope, and then he made the White House post it as well. He wasn't joking, son. At all, whatsoever. Let me read that again. The U.S. can survive without almost anybody except me, because, you know, Donnie's got it all figured out. He's the savior of our nation, right? We're fucking doomed. Leon Scum has deleted his post accusing Trump of not releasing the Epstein files because he's implicated in them. Good thing about 8 million people screenshot that shit the second he posted it. With their jaws on the floor, by the way. So Leon took the post down. What did I tell you? I told you Leon would back down. He's the weaker one in the situation. He's more at risk. He has lesser power in the situation. So I knew he would back down. I knew he would back down first. Because Donnie already got his money. He already got the presidency. He doesn't need any of you fucking people anymore. Not one human on the planet does Donald Trump need right now. Do you understand that? That's why this guy was yelling every night before the election not to vote him in, not to give him the keys. I said he turns on everybody, right? The only person I've seen him not actually turn on is Vlad Putin so far. Everybody else, gone. So Leon took the post down. He's back down first. I knew he would. I told you he would. And that's what's happening. And don't worry, these guys can be friends again next week. Don't get all happy that Leon's going off in the sunset again. He's not. We're not getting rid of him that easy. I wish I could tell you we were, but we're not. He's here to fucking stay, unfortunately. Even though they hate each other right now, they might love each other next week. Don't ever count it out. These weasels always find a way back in, and they'll keep trying until they get in. Alex Jones is trying to find a way in. Steve Bannon's trying to find a way in. They're kind of on the outs. They're all trying to find a way back in. Loomer, she's been in and out a few times now. They never stop. And they know Donnie's for sale. They know he's transactional as fuck. So they may have a friendship of convenience. Again, it doesn't matter. Leon's already fulfilled his role as the false prophet. He preached MAGA on his preaching site called Twitter that he bought with Russian, Saudi, Puff Daddy money. He preached MAGA. He flooded it with bots and trolls. So did Vlad. Now he got his wish. The thing is, his wish doesn't share power. Why? Because he's the beast. And I've been saying it for 10 years, you can't put a leash on the beast. This video, all you're seeing right here is underneath a couple chairs. That's because the drone is under the chairs, flying through them. That's how agile they are. This is a video talking about Chinese drones. But it's not just Chinese drones. All countries have drones that can do this now. I told you, your world is over. It's a new world now, where little tiny machines can fly into your fucking house and kill you. What good is an AR-15 against that? Worthless, son. Fucking worthless. If you got a compound full of, like Alex Jones with an M50 or whatever the fuck they're called, what good is that going to do you when they send 100 drones at your compound, son? Worthless. You better be a damn good shot. You and your whole family. My point is, taking on the government via weapons is over. That time's done. It's been done for a long time, but now it's really done. What can you do when you can have a central location and AI brain controlling millions of drones at will, and you're under constant surveillance? What can you do? Nothing. It's over. So this video showed how a drone can break through the window, fly under chairs, and it's totally maneuverable, can go through any obstacle and get to its target, which is you in your house. They have this already. Every country on Earth. Did you see the movie Dune, perhaps? The old version or the new? A little machine with a needle on it that enters your room to try and kill you. Instead of that, we have a drone with a little bomb attached to it. Or 7. It comes directly into your home or gets you on the street. Ain't jack shit you can fucking do. That's the world we live in now. That's where it's going. Ukraine proved the drone and its value in many kind of ways, different kind of ways. There's footage of Ukrainian drones going into structures and killing Russian soldiers. This is your world now. It's a whole new world. That futuristic jump into the sci-fi movies you were waiting for, it's here. That's where Leon and Thale and those people want to take us. You know, that dystopian nightmare sci-fi movie where the environment's ruined, they have all the money, you have nothing. Watch Blade Runner or The Road, or so many different versions of where they want to take us. That's their wet dream. Maybe not The Road, but more like the Blade Runner type thing, that type of society. Anyway, let's continue. Inside the battles that shattered Trump and Musk's alliance, this is the Washington Post. And I'm reading two excerpts again. Trump was dejected, processing his very public split with the world's richest man. Rattled in the wake of Leon Scum's public attacks and apparent call for his impeachment, Trump worked the phones, debriefing close confidants and casual acquaintances alike. His former ally was a big-time drug addict, so Donnie got on the phone calling people saying Leon was a drug addict. This is the level of immature and petty we're dealing with. Trump worked the phones, debriefing close confidants and casual acquaintances alike. Anyone that would pick up the damn phone, Donnie was calling. And telling them that Leon is a big-time drug addict. I thought he just said that to a reporter. I didn't realize earlier, because I look at a million things a day, people. You got to forgive me here. I didn't realize Donnie got on the phone like a teenage girl and called up all their friends so they could get the word in on Leon and say, Leon's a piece of shit. You shouldn't like him. He's a big-time drug addict. That's what they're saying here. You know we're fucking doomed, right? Even you, the rube that voted for this, you know you're fucking doomed, right? There's more in this article. It appears Musk and Besant indeed did get into an altercation, and I have a feeling these things are being leaked on purpose to make Leon look fucking bad, and why wouldn't they? After Besant and Musk exited the Oval Office and began walking down the hallway, the two men started to exchange insults, Bannon said. So this is Steve Bannon's testimony. Adding that Besant brought up Musk's claims that he would uncover more than $1 trillion in wasteful and fraudulent government spending, which Musk had not succeeded in doing. Scott said, "You're a fraud. You're a total fraud," Bannon said in an interview. Musk then rammed his shoulder into Besant's rib cage like a rugby player, Bannon said, and Besant hit him back. Multiple people stepped in to break up the scrum as the two men reached the National Security Advisor's office, and Musk was shuffled out of the West Wing. Again, you know we're doomed, right? Even the rube that hates my guts that has their name on the Antichrist. You know we're doomed, right? The co-chancellor who's trying to dismantle and loot your country and turn it into a dictatorship got in a fight with the Treasury Secretary. A physical fight where the Treasury Secretary had to punch him in the eye. Then he lied about it as he's gacked up on ketamine in the Oval Office in an interview with the press. To you, he said his little son did it. There goes that story, huh, Leon? They're leaking this shit on purpose. They want Leon to look bad since he decided to go the Trump and Epstein route. He tried to pull his move. The move Thale, Leon, and JD have been waiting to make. That's why Leon co-signed the comment about JD being put in as president, Trump being impeached. Do you remember that? I do. They let the cat out of the bag. They told you what the plan is. You've heard a million commentators say, Thale, Leon, they own JD. He's their man. And they're just waiting to install him. But you think Donnie ain't seen this shit before? Donnie is the champion of fucking people over and throwing them under the bus and using them. You're not going to beat him at that game. Thale, Musk, Vance. He's much more experienced at it than you, and he had plans on getting rid of all you guys a long time ago. Maybe not Thale. He needs the money in his company right now. So one more time, a literal physical altercation. This is what your tax dollars are paying for, people, as you cheer it on, as you watch troops get deployed on your streets and cheer about it like a true fucking moron. When you see this and you cheer it on, these are the tanks rolling into DC from Texas on your dime, big spender. For Donnie's Dictator birthday parade, again, another piece of your country gone. With every instance. Now we're doing Dictator North Korean style parades for dear leader. Already there, son. There's, you see them. They're on their way to their location. Already done. $50 million of your tax money for this. As you lose another piece of your country, as they normalize dictator-style military parades for dear leader. Trump says Leon Scum will face very serious consequences if he funds Democratic candidates. So it sounds like Leon might have let slip through the grapevine that he's going to start financing Democrats or something. I don't think Leon would do that. I think he may do the third party thing to fuck up the Republican Party. But even that's pretty risky. So I don't even think Leon will do that. I think he's just talking right now. But Donnie's hurling the threats, man, and Leon's backing down exactly like I thought he would. Again, Mr. Thale, I don't know if you know this, Mr. Scum, Mr. Vance, Donnie has the blessing. You don't. And by the blessing, I mean the blessing of his daddy called Satan. So these moves you're trying to make, these moves you hope you're gonna make, they will fail. Promise you. This orange thing ain't going nowhere for years. Unfortunately for us. God, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. I'm being honest here. I'd love to be wrong, though. But this thing, this orange thing, through his whole life has managed to skate every horrid, abominable situation thing he's done. He manages to skate. That's not logical. That's supernatural. Now he's got the richest man in the world on his knees again. After he gave him $500 million, or excuse me, $500 million for his campaign, for the office at the White House, all of it. Got him on his knees begging again on the outs. Donnie has the blessing. Leon has the lesser blessing as the false prophet. But that's just an assistant, son. That's not the man. Donnie has the blessing, unfortunately. That's why the gold statues on the Holy Land in the commercial, they were of Donnie, not of Leon. Leon's just the helper. And Leon best not fund no Democrat candidates. Then Donnie's coming for his ass. That's what Donnie's saying. Let me get a little water real quick. You saw, again, you lost a little bit of your country yesterday. California's being intentionally targeted. Let's not pretend we have a real government anymore. I will entertain no arguments that this is a real government and they're trying to uphold the law. We all know that's not true. We all know it's not about illegals because Donnie exempted his illegals that work at his hotels. So that tells you automatically that it's about another agenda. If Donnie wants to keep his illegals, and he exempts them right in your fucking face, by the way, said it out loud. The hotel and resort workers will be exempted from the roundups. Why? Because Donnie owns hotels and resorts. He's owned them for decades. I worked in one of them. And yes, there were illegals working there. And everybody knew it, including Donnie. So he exempted those. So Rubes, let me ask you this question. If it's really about removing the brown skins, why did Donnie exempt his? So that must not be the real agenda, right, Rubes? There must be another agenda here. Perhaps get troops on the street so they can use them on you. Because they fucking with California right now, but guess where they going next, son? To where you live. Don't think it ain't coming to your doorstep as you cheer it on like a seal. Because I promise you it is. It's coming to everybody's doorstep. It don't matter what country you live in. It don't matter what you believe in, what you don't believe in, who you voted for, who you didn't vote for, what debate you want to have. Fucking meaningless. All of it. All that matters is it's coming to your door. No matter who you are or where you are. So have fun now. Because when it comes to your door, it's going to be too late. That's when you're going to get the, have the wake up epiphany, your MAGA revelation. That, oh shit, I'm going to hell. And I voted for it. So this is tear gas being deployed on the streets in Cali again today. And that's just one picture of many people. There were skirmishes all over the place. This is Liam Neeson with a comment. Let's call a spade, folks. ICE is now Trump's personal secret police force. Yes, and a lot of them are not military, and a lot of them are not actual law enforcement. I can tell by how they move, how disorganized they are, how skittish they are, how they hold their guns. I'm not saying every person is not law enforcement. I'm saying there's a huge contingent of people that are not law enforcement in masks, ready to grab you. So yeah, let's not pretend we have a real government anymore. Let's just drop the facade, people. You knew you wanted a dictator and a king back in 2015. That's what, you've always been about. That's how weak you are as a human, how weak-minded. So let's just drop the facade that this is a real government. And let's just, call it what it is. A Reich with brown shirts, Gestapo, and willing sycophants all across the country to do evil for that Reich. All of you destined for the lake, by the way. Every single one. That's where your path leads, lest you turn away, of course. Sincerely, son. So let's not, let's just call it what it is. It's Trump's personal police force that he'll deploy anywhere, especially liberal areas. That's where he wants to start. And again, it was never about illegals, son. You know how I know that? He exempted his illegals that work at his hotels. That's all I need to hear. That tells me there's a bigger agenda here. That's the literal proof of it. Let's drop the facade that this just happened to jump off in California as if it wasn't the exact plan the Reich had. Let's not pretend that's not the case, okay? Shopping carts blocking streets in Paramount, California. Look what color those shopping carts are. Those are Home Depot carts. Because Stephen Miller instructed the Gestapo or the brown shirts to go hit the Home Depots. How do you feel about that, Home Depot? I know Home Depot's a MAGA company, totally, utterly, and completely. I guarantee they gave a bunch of money to Donnie and they voted for him. I guess you got what you voted for. Now all your stores are a fucking war zone. Are you happy? Did you get what you were looking for? You fucking idiots. You wanted troops storming your stores while customers trying to shop? That's what you were looking for with your vote? Well, that's what you got, son. That's what happens in dictatorship. You can't really control it. You never know what the spillover will be like, 145% tariffs on every single fucking thing that comes into this country, because it all comes from China, son. Or troops deployed at Home Depots, because they know the public will not like random people getting kidnapped and thrown in vans with no due process. People may get upset about that. The Reich knew that, and you rubes knew that. That's why you're doing it. Wait till it gets turned on you, rubes. I promise you it will. I bet my life on it. That's how certain I am. When this gets turned on you, you fucking $3 fucking low intellect idiots, that's when you'll understand. That's when it won't be fun anymore. Living in the opposite of reality, living in evil land, preaching evil, cheering it on. 4 months in, you already got fully armed troops, some of them not even qualified to operate the weapons and equipment, on your streets. Pat yourself on the back. I never knew you could destroy America so quickly, thoroughly, and utterly. 4 months in, baby. Home Depot carts being used as a barricade. Here's another shot of them. How do you feel about that, Home Depot? You happy your stores are now war zones? Because I ain't going near one, son. I ain't going fucking near a Home Depot. Here's Tom Homan, or the misery that is Tom Homan. He's the border czar or whatever. He is pure evil, pure misery, so destined for the lake. This was the first indication of shit going to the next level. I knew it would yesterday. I didn't think it would literally happen the next day. I didn't know the Reich would move that fast. But their time is coming soon. Their daddy Satan, the beast, the false prophet, and all the people that take part in the Reich, they know that the lake is calling their name, and it's imminently doing that. It's in the near future. It's not 30 years away, son. They know this. They're in a hurry. I didn't think it would happen the next day, but when I saw the tear gas being deployed yesterday, I knew what the next step was going to be. I just didn't know how soon it would come. Well, the next day, the misery that is Tom Homan. Let's see. We are making Los Angeles safer. Mayor Bass should be thanking us. Yeah, everybody in the community loves when troops, fully armed troops, hundreds of them, start storming Home Depots. Everyone loves that. That doesn't make people, a little creeped out at all. She says they are going to mobilize. Guess what? We already mobilizing. We are already mobilizing. We are going to bring the National Guard in tonight. So this was the first indication that the National fucking Guard was going to be seized by the federal government, the California National Guard, and used against the population of California. So everybody started freaking out on social media and articles, and and no one knew for sure. That's why I didn't report it right away. I'm like, is this dude just talking or is this real? It's real. The next day, 4 months in, we're talking National Guard pit against the population. No coincidence it started in California, rubes. Don't even play that game. We all know it's intentional. I've been telling you you're in a Reich, right? Since day one. Do you believe me now? Because this is all intentional. These little skirmishes I saw today, nowhere near close need for the National Guard. They want to bring the troops. They want to take California's troops from Mr. Newsome so he can't use them. Put them under federal control. All you National Guard people, And the head of the National Guard in California, you know what you should be doing right now? Resigning in protest. I know you won't, but you should be. And I'll give you all the same warning I'm instructed to give. You people in uniform, the head of the National Guard in California, you all should be refusing to do this right now. I know you won't, because I have no faith in humanity. I've seen too much. I've seen too many people sell out their grandma for $1. I have no faith in humanity. So I don't expect the troops to not do what they're told to do. I don't expect the leader of the National Guard in California to resign. That would take courage. That would take a spine. That would take a moral compass. I don't see that in too many people, especially when there are paychecks involved. That's what you should be doing, though. So you people in uniform, as you're joining the Gestapo or the brown shirts on the street, as you're policing the populace in true dystopian fucking fashion, under a convicted felon, by the way. That's who your commander-in-chief is. A filthy fucking convicted felon. That's deploying you on the populace. I was just following orders will not work with the man. And that's who you should worry about. Not the courts here, not what the people are going to do to you when this all falls apart. You should be worried about what the man's going to do to you. And that's why you should get the fuck out now, if you can, or refuse those orders, or resign. That's my advice to you. And I'm not in the cult. So my advice is worth a lot more than yours. So Tom Homan is the first. The misery that is Tom Homan was the first to indicate that the National Guard would be seized and used against the population of California. Again, we saw January 6th. Was the National Guard called in? Rubes? Son? No, they were intentionally withheld, hoping the coup would go through. That's why Chris Miller should be buried under the fucking jail right now. And that's why Donnie should be in jail right now. But, you know, I didn't see the urgency for the National Guard when you people were rubbing shit on the Capitol walls and breaking windows trying to get to congressmen and senators, and, you know, limos trying to pick up the vice president, you know, take him somewhere. I didn't see the Guard called in. I didn't see the urgency there. That's because you're traitors and he's a traitor. That's why there was no urgency. That's why you defend it to this day. You're a traitor to your nation. I'm sorry to break it to you. Of the highest degree, by the way. You watched that criminal, that rapist, try and overthrow the government, and you gave him the keys back again. That's what they did in Nazi Germany. Hitler tried to overthrow the government. They put him in jail for a little bit. They let him out. They let him continue to take part in politics and movements. And that's why they lost their country, just like you've lost yours. And just like the Germans were crying as the Russians and the Americans were closing in, you gonna be crying too at the end of this. Maybe before the end. Some of you already been crying. And you voted for it. Isn't that amazing? So again, the first indication of the National Guard was the misery that is Tom Homan on Fox News. So no one really knew. I wasn't sure if they were actually going to do it. This is a picture earlier of just straight up troops on the ground. This is not the National Guard, but they look like troops to me, son. And they don't look very professional either. But they got the gear on and they got the machine guns. So that's troops to me. Already on the ground in an American city being used against the American population. I know it's only happening in Cali, right? The state that pays your welfare. So who cares? They're liberals. Fuck them. Again, you fucking low intellect rubes. Where do you think it goes next? We have someone who makes proclamations every day, and they literally use the word proclamations. Your country's over. You're in a dictatorship. It's over. So where do you think this leads? Right to your doorstep, son. Be ye rube or not. Here's a random comment about more troops on the street. This is America now. Armed troops on your streets. A powder keg is about to explode with masks to hide their identity. This is what a Nazi takeover of the streets of Los Angeles looks like. Trump's cosplaying ICE Gestapo is carrying out a lawless assault against one of the most diverse cities in America. Indeed, and that was intentional because, you know, the rubes love good theater. So deploying the military on California streets, that would make the rubes all happy and excited, right? Because they hate liberals or something. Their existence is hate of other people. That's all that makes them happy. They don't care about actual policy to improve their lives, and they don't care or they don't understand that eventually that military's coming to their streets too. You know, if you would have understood that, maybe you'd still have a country, son. But it's too late for that. Your country was done in January 20th. Here is the New York Times co-signing, corroborating Trump to send National Guard to LA to quell immigration protests. I don't know. J6 look worse to me. Look much worse. No National Guard called in, though. I wonder why. But we get a few skirmishes in Cali. Time to call in the Guard. Again, let's just drop the facade. This isn't a real government. It's a Reich. We have a dictator now. And he uses these Gestapo or brown shirts to send to, you know, liberal areas wherever he has a grudge against. I mean, how many times has he used the phrase Gavin Newsome in the years since we've known him? So again, let's drop the facade. This was intentional to go after California and Newsom and liberals. And eventually that same thing will be in your town, coming after you. Because this was never about illegal immigrants, son. It's a shame you didn't know that. Otherwise, Donnie wouldn't have exempted his. Federal immigration officials squared off with protesters in LA County on Saturday using tear gas and flashbang grenades. The unrest comes just a day after raids were conducted through the city of Los Angeles. All intentional, all planned by the Reich. And again, I didn't see Donnie this upset about January 6th and calling in the Guard. He was eating hot wings while cops were getting beat. I didn't see no cops getting beat today. Yet the Guard's coming. So again, let's drop the pretense or the facade that you people ever believed in anything or this is a real government. And it's just not a Nazi movement to enslave us all. Tom Homan, President Trump's border czar, told Fox News on Saturday that the National Guard was being deployed. And let's see what... Oh, here's Donnie. If Governor Gavin Newsome, that's the President of the United States doing that again, calling him Newsome as he's basically invading his state with Gestapo and brown shirts, intentionally to cause havoc and to get a response so he can do what he's doing now. This was all planned ahead of time. This ain't spontaneous due to outrage. Oh no, son. We're not that stupid. That's why we're not in the cult. If Governor Gavin Newsome of California and Mayor Karen Bass of Los Angeles can't do their jobs, which everyone knows they can't, then the federal government will step in and solve the problem. Riots and looters the way it should be solved. Well, how come we didn't solve January 6th that way? That was a riot. They were looting. Again, let's drop the facade. None of you care about anything. You just want a king and a dictator that has an R next to his name because you hate people. And you enjoy the evil and the cruelty and the violence. That's why you're going to the fucking lake. So get all the laughs you can in now, son. Because once that fire hits your fucking ass, you won't be laughing anymore. Here's Gavin Newsome, what he's saying about the situation. The federal government is moving to take over the California National Guard and deploy 2,000 soldiers. 2,000, you say? That move is purposefully inflammatory and will only escalate tensions. Indeed. I mean, why do you think ICE is there specifically for this reason? To provoke a response so they could take over Gavin's troops. LA authorities are able to access law enforcement assistance at a moment's notice. We are in close coordination with the city and county, and there's currently no unmet need. The Guard has been admirably serving LA throughout recovery. This is the wrong mission and will erode public trust. Now, Gavin should be coming out a lot stronger against this, but Gavin wants to run for president next term. What Gavin and you people out there don't know is there's not going to be a fucking next term. There's not going to be no new Democrat administration to come save us from all this mess, to come save us from the fucking Antichrist. I'm sorry, it's over. That's not going to happen. And believe me, I'd love to fucking be wrong, but I'm not. We're watching the country become more and more of a Reich by the day. You just lost more of your country today where the Reich took over the National Guard of a state and deployed them unless they changed their mind. And I'm losing more respect for Gavin Newsome by the second because he's trying to walk this middle of the road. Let me talk to MAGA people. Let me, become more appealing to a broader audience. This is a Reich, son. These are Nazis. These are propagandists for Russia you're having interviews with. You're ruining your reputation. You're losing your dignity, son. And this tepid response to them taking your troops and using them against your population, you need to be a little more outspoken, a little bit tougher on that. But I know you want to run for president. I know. I hate to say this. Everyone thinks there's a future. There's not. And again, I'd love to be wrong about that. But every second of every day, what I see this Reich doing, I just get more convinced that there's no future. Let that sink in. While I smoked a cigarette. You're going to love this. What have I been saying about Alex Jones and Cernovich and all these people? They're white nationalists. They're on the side of Satan. They're on the side of Russia. They're traitors to our country. They only care about what power and money and fame they can get out of this for themselves. They are literally the hands of the New World Order movement. And I'm only using that phrase because you people like it. They are the hand of Satan. They are down with the whole white nationalist Russia thing. How do I know that? Leon Scum's father, Errol Musk, is a speaker at Dugin's Tsargrad Forum in Moscow, June 9 and 10. Who is Dugin? I explained who he was way back when Donnie first took over again. I didn't know much about him. I didn't need to. Now I do. Dugin is a sociopath, Alexander Dugin from Russia. They call him Putin's brain, blah, blah, blah. His philosophy, his manifesto he put out somewhat recently. I've read it to you several times. The main point in the manifesto is AI is the future. We must control it. We cannot let it go woke, also known as tell the truth. We have to install our bias into it. You've seen Leon try this with Grok, his AI, several times now. It needs to be a masculine movement. None of this woke bullshit. None of this woman bullshit. That's Mr. Dugin's philosophy. None of this democracy bullshit. Alexander Dugin is a fascist and Putin's ideologue. Other speakers on the list: Sergei Lavrov, Malifiev, I don't know who that is. Dmitry Simes, I don't know who that is. I know who this is, though. Alex Jones. Chilling at the Dugin conference in Moscow. Doesn't that just prove every damn thing I've been saying about him? He's literally part of the movement, that New World Order thing that Thale, Leon, Dugin, all of them want. He's right there on the panel in Moscow. With Dugin, with Lavrov. He's a fucking traitor is what I'm trying to say. And you take him seriously. Adjudicated defamer to the tune of $1 billion. And then we see him chilling with Dugin in Moscow at a conference. He's one of the featured speakers. Boy, was I right about that motherfucker. I couldn't have been more right, son. So when I say to you, you have been the hand of Satan as you watched Alex Jones preached his gospel of Assange in Russia. Alex has been the hand of Satan that made this movement, made this Reich happen, made this apocalypse happen. This Satanist regime. You are the hand of it. If you have your name on it. If you supported these people. Cernovich, Jones, and others. You have helped Russia take your country, son. And you've been the hand of Satan all these years. And the guy who's supposed to be anti-globalist, Mr. America, Mr. Constitution, is over in Moscow hanging out with Alexander fucking Dugin. Yeah, that's a straight up traitor, son, and so are you. If you preach in the same gospel they preach. And you're of Satan. As far as I'm concerned, this verifies. I guess Alex don't feel a need to hide anymore. I don't know. This verifies what he's been the whole time. And, you know, he's another past rich guy that might need some money from Russia. So why not, right, Alex? You're $1 billion in the hole, right? I don't take kindly to this bullshit. Because you and him and Dugin and others have ruined my country. You're just fucking traitors destined for the lake who are going to take the mark. Who gives a fuck about you? But the rest of us that don't have our names on this and don't intend to take the mark and want no part of it and find it disgusting, we must suffer it as well. That's the shitty, disgusting part. You people don't care. You wanted a dictator anyway. Maybe you'll be smiling as your dictator ships you to the fucking gulag. Maybe you'll enjoy that too. You enjoyed it when he did it to other people, right? You laughed, you cheered, you said it was great, you said that's what I voted for, blah, 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 right? One more time, Alex Jones, featured speaker at a Dugin conference in Moscow with Sergei Lavrov. Isn't that awesome? Here's a proclamation from the White House, the basic propaganda, because, again, we all know Donnie and Hegseth and these people, they already had this plan in advance. They don't like democracy. The only thing standing between them and full Reich, full dictatorship, is liberal people in this country, liberal areas. That's it. They're coming for you now. They arrested a judge. They're in California with troops. They seasoned the fucking National Guard. Just like in Hitler's day. The only thing between him and the ability to be dictator, to go full Reich, to alter his country forever into dictatorship, was the liberal people of the day. The socialists, the communists, the liberals, the trade unionists. They were all that was in his way. What did he do? He arrested them. First. What does that make Hitler's movement, Rubes? Not a left or liberal movement, a right-wing nationalist movement, which eventually became a fascist movement, which you're watching again right now. You people been voting right for decades. Closest thing to fascism I've ever seen. Closest thing to Hitler I've ever seen. Now you got the maximum expression. Let's see what propaganda they're putting forth to justify them putting troops on American streets. You fucking idiots that have your name on this. Made it happen. Because they'll be on your streets too, morons. And you were warned over and over and over by people just like me that actually studied history, not with your brainwashed, dumbass McCarthyism Republican bias. You know, brainwashed into your granddaddy, into your daddy, into you since 1945. No, I'm talking about real study of history without the brainwashing. And the brainwashing is evident. Look where we are now. You ready? In recent days, violent mobs have attacked ICE officers and federal law enforcement agents carrying out basic deportation operations in Los Angeles, California. I haven't seen any straight up attacks. I saw them January 6th, though. These operations are essential to halting and reversing the invasion of illegal criminals into the United States. Well, Donnie's a convicted felon, adjudicated rapist, defamer, fraud, tried to overthrow the government, stole 3,000 classified documents, and he gave his illegals an exemption. It's almost as if it's just a Reich and they don't really care about illegals. It's all theater for you, so they can get troops on the street. You know, and start deporting the homegrowns. In the wake of this violence, California's feckless Democrat leaders have completely abdicated their responsibility to protect their citizens. That is, again, this is the guy that literally held back the guard on J6 and ate hot wings. The convicted felon is saying this. That is why President Trump has signed a presidential memorandum deploying 2,000 National Guardsmen to address the lawlessness that has been allowed to fester. The Trump administration has a zero-tolerance policy for criminal behavior. He's a convicted felon! What do you mean zero tolerance? You fucking hypocrites. You fucking liars. Criminal behavior and violence. J6, January 6th. Especially when that violence is aimed at law enforcement officers trying to do their jobs. Oh, like the cops at the Capitol during January 6th? Like that? Rubes? Nah, not like that, right? That don't count. Because that would, burst the bubble you live in, the bubble of propaganda and stupidity. That cost you your country. That cost you your children's future, unfortunately. You wanted it, though. You begged for it. You cheered for it. You preached it. You voted for it. Be happy. These criminals will be arrested and swiftly brought to justice. The commander-in-chief will ensure the laws of the U.S. are executed fully and completely. Carolyn Levitt, which came from Donnie. I mean, come on. A greater example of propaganda by a convicted felon I've never seen. Do you see how your country's over now? I watched the videos of what took place today. You don't need the National Guard. None of those troops were ever in danger. But on J6, while literal police officers were being beaten to death, and windows were being broken, and kidnapping attempts against the vice president, mobs smearing shit on the Capitol walls, that wasn't justification to bring the guard in. Oh, because that was your team doing it. And Donnie was staging a coup. This is a sad day for America, man. The rubes won't know it till it knocks on their door. They're just stupid. They're just of Satan. They don't even know what's going on here. I could feel it yesterday that we were losing a piece of our country yesterday. And yesterday was the excuse for today, where we've lost a bigger piece of our country, where the Reich took a state's National Guard over for no reason, just because that was the plan. And again, it's not a coincidence, son. Let's not play this game that it just happened to take place in California. We all know who Donnie hates. He doesn't really keep it a secret, does he? In 1930s Germany, the only thing in between Hitler and full Reich and full authoritarian ability were liberal people in government and in society. They were the last defense, the last obstacle Hitler needed to get through. That's why he arrested them all. Here, the Reich begins in California. Why? Because liberal people and liberal people in government are the last defense between you and full Reich morons. You watch this play out in history. Some of you, I'm sure, even studied it. You put your name on it anyway. Now your country's gone forever. Your children's future gone forever. And no, it wasn't the evil liberals, son. It was you the whole time. Just you. And we come to the end. Pete Hegseth, you know, the guy who leaks war plans to reporters, invites his family members into classified chats, that guy. The violent mob assaults. How did they word? The violent mobs have attacked ICE. That was Skeletor and Donnie's message. Wait, how did Donnie word it? Did he use that? No, he used riots and looters. But I noticed the similarity in language from the White House memo to Hegseth. Violent mob. Violent mobs, plural, in the White House version. That's how you know it's propaganda. The violent mob assaults on ICE and federal law enforcement are designed to prevent the removal of criminal illegal aliens from our soil. Well, why did Donnie exempt his? I keep stumbling on that one, Rubes. I thought the goal was to get them all out of here. Maybe the goal's something else, huh? Criminal illegal aliens from our soil, a dangerous invasion facilitated by criminal cartels, aka foreign terrorist organizations, and a huge national security risk. Under Trump, violence and destruction against federal agents and federal facilities will not be tolerated. It's common sense. Again, federal facilities, you say. Like the Capitol? What about the violence and damage done to that place? What about the convicted felon who did it? Again, let's not pretend this is a government, son. Let's not pretend any of this is justified, any of it is legal, because none of it is. It's common sense, says the guy who leaks war plans to reporters. The Department of Defense, here's the good part. The Department of Defense is mobilizing the National Guard immediately to support federal law enforcement in Los Angeles. And if violence continues, active duty Marines at Camp Pendleton will also be mobilized. They are on high alert. Marines against the population of California. Again, I didn't hear about any officers getting injured or attacked straight up. So now not only do we need the Guard, we need active duty Marines on the street of America policing citizens. You know, Rubes, the thing we warned you about for 10 fucking years. Yeah, today I felt it. I don't know if you did. I felt we lost a nice chunk of our country, of our way of life. And again, I know you Rubes don't care. You're just mindless automatons destined for the lake. I know. You're just of Satan. You're the hand of Satan. You wouldn't know Jesus if he walked up and slapped you in the face. But what I saw today, and this, now we're at the point where we're talking active duty Marines as a threat against the American population. 4 months this took, son. 4 months. All of our allies gone, our trading partners gone, tariffs, grifts, leaks of classified information. Doge stole all your information and gave it to the Russians. And gave it to Leon, and gave it to Thale. It's so over. Now they feel comfortable enough to deploy California's National Guard against Californian citizens. And now the Reich feels comfortable enough to threaten active duty Marines on the streets of Cali. Not Iraq, son. California. And again, Rubes, when all you morons that live in states with 3 people in it, if you're cheering this on, the fucking up of California, always remember, California pays your welfare bill, son. Just like I was saying yesterday, you want New York, you want Cali to go down, there goes your welfare, and Donnie ain't paying it. That's his money, son. But again, you people saw the evil. You knew it was going to lead to destruction, and you put your name on it anyway, because you just couldn't be good. And what I mean by that is you couldn't take the side of good. You watched evil, abomination, blasphemy after blasphemy. Over and over on a daily basis for 10 fucking years. You still thought it was a good idea. That tells me you basically a lost cause. I hope I'm wrong. Maybe some of you will finally walk the other way at some point. But if you watched all this for 10 years and you put your name on it for a third time, I have to assume you're a lost cause. I have to assume when Donnie tries to give you that gift that you're going to take it. Why wouldn't you? You preaching the gospel now of Satan. So why wouldn't you take the gift Satan wants to give you? Again, I want to stress this. I want this to sink in. After very minor skirmishes that resulted in no injuries to police officers or ICE agents, they are taking that as the opportunity to deploy the National Guard in California. When the convicted felon that's doing all this literally tried to overthrow the government, the National Guard was literally necessary to stop that riot, to stop congressmen and senators from being killed. And they sat back and watched it, hoping it would succeed. This isn't about illegal aliens, fools. Otherwise, Donnie wouldn't have exempted his illegal aliens at his clubs. Donnie wouldn't be specifically targeting blue areas, Jacksonville, Florida, Los Angeles, California. So this was the plan before the first ICE agent stepped foot in Cali. And you all know it. And we all know it. We ain't stupid like you. We knew what was going to happen before it happened. That's why we've been yelling for 10 years. So the plan always was, by the Reich, get a couple skirmishes started so we can say we need the Guard to quell these riots. The literal Reich that was responsible for January 6th, by the way. And then we're going to threaten them as well with active duty Marines. Do you know how far into dystopia you are, son? That's why I keep repeating myself. Do you know how over it is already? We're 4 months in. We're already talking active duty Marines on the streets of an American state. Maybe now you understand why I've been using the word Reich all this time. And again, I know commentators all throughout the years, when their candidate doesn't win, they say it's the end of the country, this person's horrible, it's a regime, it's a Reich. It was never true until now. You are in a dystopia, you are in a Reich, you are in the apocalypse. Donnie's the Antichrist, Leon's the false prophet. This is going to go full authoritarian. I told you that months ago. This is their moment. They ain't going to waste it. They're going to do what they've been intending to do for a few decades now. Since the Russian propaganda started getting spread on all these wonderful social media companies that are still spreading it now. Because Vlad buys ads, unfortunately for us. But this whole New World Order thing, that phrase you people like so much, that was being talked about back in George Bush Sr. days. He used the phrase New World Order in a speech and talked about how the old ways would be gone and it'll be this whole new thing and how wonderful it will be. a Republican, head of the CIA. Can't get more Republican than him. So this plan been around a long time in various forms. Now we're getting to the actual implementation. No borders. Pull a workforce from Guatemala. Let Americans starve to death. Who fucking cares? Automate everything with AI. Digital currency. Constant surveillance. We can't have democracy. It doesn't work for the oligarchy. Sorry. It doesn't work for the rubri at the bottom who just want a king and just want to see the people they don't like persecuted. Military on the streets. Regional oligarchies, all based on a Nazi technocracy map. Annexation of our neighbors. What this tells me is that George Bush Sr. was a Nazi as well. That he knew about this Nazi technocracy shit. And that's part of what he was talking about when he gave his most famous New World Order speech. I guess what I'm trying to convey to you is you don't realize how far down the rabbit hole of no return that we're already down. How far we are already down. I want you to stop and think about the country you've lived in for decades and decades and what you thought it was. Now think you're in the year 2025. They talking deploying the National Guard in Cali. They talking deploying active duty Marines in Cali. We have men in masks going around grabbing anyone they feel like. They grabbed a deputy U.S. Marshal the other day. Fully armed to the teeth with machine guns, full military gear, the works. Some of them not even law enforcement. Again, I don't think you realize how far gone your country is. And it's never coming back. To even suggest putting active duty military on the street to police people, my God, that's unheard of. What president would dare say it? What Secretary of Defense would dare say it? The point of this Reich from the beginning was to subjugate you and turn this country into a dictatorship like China or Russia, to turn this country into a mob-run joke where corruption is so out in the open and in your face, the president will even take a $400 million plane and tell you it's a good thing. He'll sell $5 million gold cards for citizenship. I guess color doesn't matter if you got the 5 million, huh, Rubes? And we'll bring in white South Africans and we'll pay all their bills. Always remember where this began. The modern incarnation of it. We've already had 4 years of an almost Reich with Donnie the first time, but he didn't have the sycophants in place he needed. He tried at the end, but it didn't. Mike Pence stopped it. One of the forces that put a stop to it. Where did it begin, people, on Inauguration Day? With a Nazi salute. So what does that tell you about where it's going? And again, rubes, the rubes out there, the morons, the ICE agents, the people that are going to be the henchmen for the Reich. I know you all think it's going to work out okay for you because you're on Team Reich. Guess what? In Nazi Germany, it didn't work out so well for Team Reich, son. And history always repeats itself. Obviously, by your fucking sad existences, the abject level of stupidity your existence exemplifies, to where you would literally see Nazis and a Reich forming and you would vote for it. Many of you ethnic minorities, many of you Jews even, voting for it, preaching its gospel. Man, that level of stupidity you can't even describe properly. But is it stupidity or is it blindness via hate, via brainwashing? It's a combination of all three, I guess. I told you from the beginning, this is real. This really going to happen. Yeah, they really going to try and take Greenland. They're going to try and take Canada. They're going to try and take Mexico. They're going to try and take the Suez, the Panama, Gaza. They're going to do it all. They're also going to turn America into a dictatorship. I said all this. I called it a Reich. You got two Nazis from South Africa, Thale and Leon Scum. Leon literally throws up the Nazi salute. Donnie has a copy of Hitler's speeches next to his bed. For that, warm, fuzzy reading at bedtime. Donnie came to power via a white nationalist movement. Pepe the Frog Beast, 666 hand signs, 666 Fifth Avenue, fight, fight, fight on the fucking coin. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A, B, C, D, E, F. F just happens to be the sixth letter in the alphabet. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Because I didn't want to know that. I literally intentionally put that off. I said, I don't want to know, Lord. I'm just going to, focus on other crap. I'll get around to it. And then I got around to it. And I said, A, B, C, D, E, F. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A movement that hates women, and they're proud to say that. And there just happens to be some scripture, he will have no regard for the desire of women, the God of women. Alexander Dugin, his whole manifesto is an anti-woman, masculine. I have a feeling a lot of them are gay. That's why they think that way. But, that's just my opinion. And we need to tweak AI in, Satan's image. That goes along with this white nationalist, white power, we hate women, we hate minorities movement. The man sat in the Oval Office and said not to feel sorry for Joe Biden since he has cancer. The man said he wanted to be Pope. Posted an image of himself as Pope. Made the White House post an image of himself as Pope. He wants a Nobel Peace Prize. He's got his own cryptocurrency so anyone around the world can bribe him directly, and there's no record of it. He intentionally started chaos and confusion in California so he could deploy the National Guard and take Gavin's troops and maybe deploy some of his own troops, active duty Marines. People are being rounded up. There is now a government-sponsored death camp in El Salvador where men never leave. What the fuck does that sound like to you? I know what it sounds like to me. But I told you in advance it would happen. I told you this was real this time. I told you the bill's due. And again, son, if you think troops on the streets of America ain't going to affect you, I mean, you're a lost cause. I don't know what to tell you. If you think, again, because you're on the side of the Reich, it's not going to affect you, just like the Germans thought, and the people that thought, that helped out Adolf Hitler back in that time, they all thought it wouldn't touch them. They're on the side of the Reich, right? Again, the horrors that happened to Germany, I don't even want to fully describe. That's how it ended up. So how do you think it's going to end up for you? The rube that wanted to repeat history by having an authoritarian movement where people get sent to death camps and the military is deployed out on your streets. And we must glorify dear leader every 5 seconds. You watch the cabinet do it all day. And anyone he doesn't like, don't matter what the law is, he goes after any way he can. He's going to get rid of them Biden pardons too, and he's going to start arresting people like Adam Schiff and those people. That'll happen. That's where it's going. And again, if you think the arrest of Adam Schiff won't affect you, again, you're just a lost cause, son. That'll just be another sign of how much of your country you have lost, how gone your country is. A convicted felon arresting Adam Schiff. The opposite of what should be happening. The opposite of reality. Dystopia land. Evil land. That's all that is, and that's all you preaching. So again, let me stress this one point and get the fuck out of here. You are about to have, unless they change their mind, National Guard in a situation that doesn't require the National Guard, and everyone knows it. Everyone knows it's intentional. Everyone knows it's a Reich move to further establish the authoritarian thing. Then on top of it, the cherry on top is Hegseth saying, I'm going to put active duty Marines if you people don't do what we say. National Guard and active duty Marines on your streets. Again, if you think that won't affect you, you're just a lost cause. Because what it is, Rubes, each step, each activity, each day is crossing the line of due process, crossing lines of the Constitution, into areas of treason. What they're doing out on the streets right now, intentionally trying to cause chaos to get a response so they can bring the military in, as if they haven't already. Dictator's Day parade with tanks and military equipment. Your country's over. Do you think he won't come for the guns at some point? He will. But what they're really hoping, Rubes, is that you go along and continue being a traitor to your nation and help the Reich out, thus securing your place in a place called the Lake of Fire. Look it up, Google it. See what AI tells you about it. It's quite fascinating, and it applies to you if you go along with this, if you preach its gospel, if your name is on it. Turn the other way. Get out of the cult while you can. Donnie's taking you to the abyss. That's the only place he's taking you. And although many of us may die out here that are not on your side, we will be risen. You will not. That's simple. Enjoy. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Your country is over. It was over in January. Have a wonderful evening.